Today's sales leader faces increasing pressure and seemingly impossible quotas. And most are told the answer is more calls, more pipeline, more grind. With over 20 years in the trenches of sales leadership, I know there's a better way. Welcome to the Authentic Sales Manager podcast, brought to you by From the Heart Business Network. I'm your host, Harry Spaight. I believe in celebrating wins, visualizing success, and making sales and sales leadership honorable. Let's go. Welcome to the Authentic Sales Manager podcast. Harry Spaight, your host here. And today I wanted to just share some thoughts I had about coaching and developing as a coach versus being a sales manager that tells their team what to do and gets in the trap of telling so much that they're not developing the team. So why am I bringing this up? Well, recently I had a coaching opportunity and I just blurted out some instructions that you need to do this. And then I thought afterwards that I didn't get this out of the person. I told them what to do. How are they feeling about it? Are they owning it? And it just could have been better is the way I'm looking at it. So many of us who came from selling and got into sales leadership, we were really good in sales and we were promoted. We could develop a team. We could, instead of having our revenue of one person, we might have that number multiplied times 6 or 8, depending on the number of people on the team. Then you get into the role and you realize, holy smokes, these people think differently than I do. They're not thinking through the same process that I thought through. They don't have the same goals. They don't have the same background. They don't have the same emotional intelligence. The things that you take for granted in sales, and when you get into sales leadership, sometimes it is a rude awakening. It's true that there are different skill sets required for each role. It doesn't mean you can't succeed coming from sales into sales leadership. A lot of us do it. It's just a change. There's different things that we need to be doing, different techniques, different styles. We have to keep growing. But yes, absolutely, it can be done. But you have to recognize that there's a difference. However, there are also similarities. And in sales, anyone who is worth their salt in sales knows that they want their client, their prospect, to do most of the talking. We ask the questions, they give us the answers. We let them speak, we listen. When we get into sales leadership, if you have a team of 6 or 8 people coming at you with different questions and challenges, we may default into giving answers. So what we want to do is just like the skill that is required in sales is to turn your statements into questions. Same is true in sales leadership. How do we turn our answers into questions to get the person to actually think? And that is the goal. So when people think on their own, right, when we're encouraging them to think and they come back with the answers, it's coming from their mind, their thought processes. It's a lot easier to own that and to recall that in the future than us just giving an answer. So years ago, when I was deeply in this world of being the answer man and feeling like I've got to give answers to everyone, I'm helping coach on everything. But really, I wasn't coaching. I was telling. So just like in sales, stop telling, start selling, the old book. Same is true in the coaching world. We had this company came in and taught us about the GROW methodology. And really simply, the GROW methodology was, what's the goal? What's reality? What are the potential outcomes? And where do we go from here? But for some of us, that was too much. For me, too much. I wanted just to give answers. But when I was giving the answers, I wasn't developing people. And proof in the pudding is years later, some sales reps came up to me who've been in sales for years were still asking me pretty basic questions. And I have to think, is that on me as the sales leader? What did I miss in trying to develop this person? Some of it's on me, some of it's on the other person, but hopefully you understand that there is a role that we're playing. So the GROW methodology I thought was a little bit much for every situation, but what I did was I shortened it. So when someone came to me with a challenge or a question or problem, I simply threw it back and said, what are our options? By asking that question, what are the options? I got answers. The answers weren't always great, but they were never, I'm going to run and hide. They were never, I have no idea. That's why I'm asking you. I mean, maybe once in a while, a little sarcasm, but generally people knew the answer and they wanted to talk through it. So as a coach, you're making yourself available for them to talk through what they already know in their heart, what the answer is. So typical problem, the customer is upset with us. The delivery hasn't gone well. What are our options? Well, I don't really know. Okay, let's think. There are no wrong answers here. Let's take a minute and think through it. There are no wrong answers. Let's put them out there. We can't run and hide, right? We can't stick our head in the sand. What else can we do? So it would get answers. Well, I could go talk to the customer and see, if I can smooth things over. That's always good. The other option is, well, have the manager call and see if they can smooth things over. So whatever the answers were, I would simply ask, well, what do you think is best? And if the answer was, I want you to call Harry, I would say, is that taking ownership? Is that going to help your business in the future if I make that call versus you making it? Is that something that by you making the call will benefit you in the future? And yes, it's painful sometimes. They had to face the music. They had to get out of the comfort zone and do the manager stuff, but it always worked. And sometimes there's wrong answers that you would wrong in your mind. Sometimes it's a coin flip as to what's the best answer. Let them run with it. So giving them the freedom to make the choice and then sticking with it and carrying it out to fruition, that is way better for the growth and development of that individual versus this is what you need to do, or saying, this is what you need to do. Here's the checklist, do these 17 things, and it will smooth it all over. Well, they'll do it for that, but that doesn't mean they're going to remember doing it in the future. In the scenario we just described, it will be better for them because they will own it and they'll be able to recall it in the future. So does that help? So instead of being the answer man, just simply take the question and ask, what are our options? And good things are going to happen. Let's hear a word from our sponsor. And when we come back, let's talk about another challenge that is a coaching opportunity about salespeople not making the best use of their time. Stay tuned.
What if every rep on your team got a personalized coaching audio message from Larry Levine every morning based on their individual strengths and growth areas?
That's what we're excited to tell you about, daily audio coaching powered by Sales Index. Each rep gets a short, practical coaching session from me they can listen to on their way to work or in between calls.
It's not generic training, it's personalized micro coaching that helps your reps make small gains every day that add up to big results.
Big things happen when your reps take effective action every day.
Learn more about how it works and get started at salesindex.ai.
Welcome back to the Authentic Sales Manager podcast. Harry Spaight here. Before the break, we were talking about using the coaching to help develop our people. And sometimes it's as simple as using the goals that they give us. So at the beginning of the year, when you're meeting with your team, meeting with individuals, or maybe it's a new hire, you want to ask what their income goals are. This way, it helps you to become less of a micromanager and more of a coach and helping your client reach their goals. And that's the way I view my salespeople, as clients. Just like we have internal clients and external ones, well, these for sales leaders are our internal clients. So what's the typical number that salespeople give us when it comes to making money? They will frequently say $100,000. They may not have sniffed $50,000 yet, but they want to make $100,000. They don't understand that maybe the top 20 to 25% of all salespeople make that amount of money, but nonetheless, it's a great starting point. So I'll ask, after they give me the number, I'll ask, well, what's the hourly rate then that you want to make? And most of the times I get a deer in the headlight look. So we'll simply break it down. 40 hours a week, 50 weeks in a year with your 2 weeks of vacation, 2,000 hours, and you want to make $100,000. 2,000 goes into 100,000, 50 times, and there's your $50 an hour. So now the person understands that they need to do activities that are worthy of $50 hours, which also translates to $400 days and $2,000 weeks. So going into the week and you're looking at a sales rep's calendar and you're trying to help them to fill it out as to the type of activities that they need to be doing to hit their income goals. So if I were going to pay you $2,000, what should you be doing is one way of asking it. Or you could simply say, if you were paying me $2,000 to hit a goal of $100,000 for the year, what would you expect me to do? And all we're trying to do is to get them think. And as they start thinking and they say, well, I'd have to set appointments. Okay, great. What type of clients do you want to be setting appointments with? What type of prospects do you want to be setting appointments with? Are they people that are going to buy once, or do you want people that are going to buy multiple times? Do you want people to spend a little money with us, or do you want people to spend a lot of money with us? And I ask these very basic questions, again, for the whole purpose that they can start separating what is a good customer or good client and one who is not so good, which is really going after their targeted client profile, if I can use a term from Lee Salz. So it's all about the value. What are you doing during the day that is going to equate to $400 in activity? How many appointments should that day consist of? How many prospecting calls? The quality of the prospecting calls, the quality of the appointments, the preparation for the appointments. That all adds up. And then asking the question, how many people earn $100,000 a year in sales, do you think? And most, again, won't know because they'll probably think everyone does. But it's really the top 20% using round numbers. So in order to be the top 20%, for every 10 people you see in sales, 2 of them are making $100,000. The other 8, not so much. So in order to be in the higher tiers in sales, what type of salesperson do you need to be? You'd have to be a top salesperson. What does that look like to you? What education will you be taking advantage of to be one of the top salespeople? Will you be reading books? Will you be listening to podcasts? Will you be watching YouTube videos? Will you be working on your craft? If so, what does that look like to you? How would we break that down to weekly or even daily activities? If you want to make that amount of money and you're going to be in the top 20 to 25% of all salespeople, do you need to behave and act differently than the majority of salespeople? Yes. So a lot of salespeople are great at selling their product. That's all they know. They know their product. Unfortunately, they fall real short when it comes to having a business conversation. If you were a customer today and you could get everything at your fingertips through AI, say, what product do I need? You don't even have to search the internet anymore. It is now, this is what I'm looking for. What type of salesperson do you want to work with? Do you want one who is only skilled at knowing what their product is? Or do you want one that is able to have a business conversation and give you business advice to help you grow your business? What type of salesperson is that? Is that middle of the road, or is that a high performer, do you think? Well, that would be a high performer. So again, what we're trying to do is take their goals and tie into activity, the type of behavior, and the type of growth they need in order to reach those goals. Because you're going to make it very clear based on your conversation, just by using a few statistics, that $100,000, nobody is just giving a newer sales rep that amount of money. They have to earn it. I don't like to micromanage. I want people to enjoy sales. I don't want to be checking in every 5 minutes. What are you doing now? We've all had managers like that. It is no fun. That's just not a great way to lead. So by helping people and your team to be better professionals and help them reach their goals, you simply are going to ask, I don't want to be a hardhead here. I want you to reach your goals. Do you want me to help you to do that? They're going to say yes. So if you're straying and you're showing me that you're not doing the activities that are going to lead you to the right place, your goal, do you want me to help you correct that? Yes. So now you have permission. You don't have to be a jerk about it. You just give the pleasant reminders. I mean, I joke about it sometimes just to say, if someone's coming in and their shoes are not polished, they look like they slept in their clothes, I'm going to ask, are you looking like $100,000 a year rep right now? I'm busting your chops a little bit, but if we want to be the best, we have to act like the best, look like the best, and serve our clients like we're the best. I hope that helps. If you know of any other sales leaders that could benefit from this information, from this very podcast conversation, please feel free to share it. And I appreciate you listening in, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about this. So you can hit me up on LinkedIn with a direct message, or feel free to leave a review at the podcast platform of your choice. Until next time, I'm Harry Spaight, and I hope you have a great week of selling and leading with authenticity. Take care. Thanks for joining us on the Authentic Sales Manager podcast, brought to you by From the Heart Business Network. If today's conversation resonated, rate, review, and share it with a sales leader who needs to hear this. Keep celebrating wins and making sales leadership honorable. See you next time.